Diamond B Sports presents the American Sports Cavalcade. A panorama of speed, color, drama, and excitement. The American Sports Cavalcade.
Located at the geographic center of the continental United States is one of our nation's energy capitals, Tulsa, Oklahoma. Folks around here call themselves Sooners, and that's a term that goes back to the land rushes of the 1800s. The folks that started up front got their land sooner. Now, the people who snared these prime pieces on the Arkansas River must have started on the pole. Now, when it comes to sprint car dirt track racing, Oklahoma is definitely okay. Today, from Tulsa Speedway, Fram Autolite brings you World of Outlaw sprint car coverage. Hello, everyone. I'm Steve Evans, along with my friend Brock Yates. Now, the sun is shining bright, but that's deceiving. The wind has the chill factor down into the high 30s, and Brock, that wind can dry out a racetrack and make it more difficult than it should be.
Well, this is a plenty tricky racetrack anyway, Steve. It's got very short corners and long straightaways, and we've got a big crosswind coming across here, so the drivers are having trouble setting the cars up.
And the WOO organization, World of Outlaws, has added a new wrinkle for this season, kind of a bonus race.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. We've got a little race called the Fram Dash. Now, it's going to be 7 laps. The top 2 qualifiers and the top 4 finishers in the heats, they are going to race to determine the starting positions for the big 25-lap feature.
Heat number 1, warming up right now.
Well, Steve, in qualifying, it was this man, Doug Wolfgang, the Wolf, from Sioux Falls, South Dakota, in car number 40. A new ride for him, who set quick time in qualifying. The time, 17.816 seconds. And I asked the Wolf about the run.
I went out pretty early, which helped me because the track still had a little bit of tackiness on it. But you don't really know where to run because I've never been here and I've never seen the track, and I don't know if it'll be good in the tack or better out in the middle of the black or up in the dust or what. So I just did what I could do, and it was just a luck lap, I guess.
Well, none of the Outlaws have ever been here before. This is their first show at this Tulsa facility. This is heat number 1, 10 laps. The top 4 will go directly to the feature today, and the top 6 have been inverted from their earlier time trial runs. Now, Brock, this is really, a small 3/8 track. We're going to call it turns 1, 2, 3, and 4, but there's really 2 turns, one on either end.
Yeah, it's a tricky little racetrack, and as we said, it's cold. The drivers have had some problems getting the chassis set up right, so this is going to be kind of an experiment for everybody. The first heat underway. The green is out.
And this is number 20, Rodney Duncan, who is taking the lead going into turn number 1. They stay sideways all the through 1 and 2 and then try to come off the cushion, straighten it out. The tackiness that Wolfgang enjoyed in qualifying, well, that is virtually gone. Look at the dust. The wind has dried out this racetrack. Behind number 20, Duncan, is in the lead, is 85, Bob Ewell. And challenging for the second spot is 48, Dave Blaney.
Blaney out of Hartford, Ohio, trying to get underneath Bob Ewell as they sweep through turn number 2 and down that back chute. There is the 85 car. There's 48, Blaney, down into turn 3 and 4. Underneath, he's going to make that move. Can he work? No, it won't work. Off that straightaway. Little short straightaways here, Steve. This is a 3/8 mile racetrack. That isn't very big at all, believe me.
And this is one racetrack where you'll really see the cars working on their suspensions. The drivers are in and out of the throttle, on it down the straightaway, then out and then feathering it through the turn, staying literally side. Whoa! Dave Blaney's 48 car went way low trying to find some traction and tagged the tire barrier with the left front wheel and spins into the infield. That will move Bobby Allen from Pennsylvania into the 3rd spot.
Well, I think he probably broke a tie rod on that left front wheel. Dave Blaney is in to the infield and out of it. He hit that big implement tire there entering turn number 3, and that was it for him. So the yellow's out, and let's have another look at it. There's Blaney in the white number 48. Just ticks that tire, but it's a big, heavy tire. Notice it didn't even move. And I'm sure it busted the tie rod on that left front wheel, and he maintained control for a while, and then he kind of got out on the front straightaway. Bobby Allen in 1A there just missed him as they went underneath. and that brings the yellow out, so we're going to slow it down and reform with Rodney Duncan still holding the lead in that number 20 car.
Well, that was really some heads-up driving by the man in the number 1A car, Scruffy, Bobby Allen, Hanover, Pennsylvania in the third spot. Rocky Hodges now in fourth, Greg Woolley in fifth. The pressure really on Woolley because only the top four go directly to the feature.
Well, Dave Blaney's car's been hauled away. The green is out. Outlaw style, here they come. And Duncan jumps out one more time. He seems to have really good horsepower down that front straightaway, Steve. Good fight on the race car. And Yule right now can't seem to move in on him.
And, of course, the wings on these sprint cars provide downforce. They also kind of a shock absorber in the case of a rollover. But here in the wind, Brock, they can be tricky to drive.
That's right. We've got a good stiff crosswind here at Tulsa, and that is making chassis setup all the more difficult as Bobby Allen tries to move underneath Yule down that back straightaway. Yule in the yellow 85, though, able to hold Scruffy off. One of the real veterans, a car builder, fine race driver, a real professional, has handled the outlaw circuit very capably ever since its inception 10 years ago.
Well, Rocky Hodges in the 23S car, he is still in that fourth position and trying to defend it with everything he's got. He doesn't want to have to run any kind of consolation. He wants to go right to the feature. And only four, we emphasize again, do that. Now, the wind is not such a problem down the front straightaway because the grandstand and the crowd serve as a windbreak. It's on that back little straightaway that it can get treacherous.
And here, Steve, is the race for the fifth spot, the number 7 car of Rick Unger, the number 23 car, Greg Woolley. These are two World of Outlaw regulars on the tour. We've got some local guys in here, too, but these two, they've raced each other all around the country in that 70-odd race schedule, coast to coast, that the Outlaws run each year. But right now, fifth is not good enough for Unger and Woolley because they're going to have to get into the top 4 to transfer, Steve.
And here's the race for second place. The 85 car is Bob Ewell. 1A, Bobby Allen in the third spot just behind him. And everybody is looking for some moisture in this racetrack, trying to get one of those big tires to launch, to grab, to grip, and to sling them out of a turn. We're going to make a pass. And look at Bobby Allen going down under the 85 car of Ewell. And Allen makes it work. That was a nice bit of driving.
It sure was. And Ewell got just a little bit high coming off of turn 2. And that was enough for the veteran Allen to slip by underneath. So we got the final lap here with Bobby Allen jumping up into the second spot. I don't think, though, he's going to be able to pull in Rodney Duncan.
No, he's not, Brock. Rodney Duncan has got a nice lead as they charge out of the final turn right here down that short front chute, and we should see the checkered flag at heat number 1. There it is for number 20, Rodney Duncan. He went wire to wire. Rodney Duncan over Bobby Allen. Bobby Allen in the 1A car, not pushing all that hard at the end, just wanted to hang on to that second spot. A good-looking youngster with a big future in World of Outlaws competition wins heat number 1. In this 10th anniversary of the World of Outlaws, there's more bright young faces than ever before, but some of the regulars are still around, such as that man who just pushed off. That is Sammy Swindell, 2-time Outlaw champion, and he is getting ready for heat number 2. There's the official results of heat number 1. Rodney Duncan on top, and Brock is with the winner.
So, Rodney Duncan, first heat, first win, and I would imagine kind of a tricky little racetrack out there.
Yeah, she's pretty slick right now. I don't really know how fast we were. We started up front, so I'll have to talk to my mechanic here and see what all we got to do. It'll probably start to lay down rubber maybe as the afternoon goes, so we'll just have to watch the track.
Everybody seemed to, all the drivers were lining out the pit lane today watching that heat, trying to figure out what to do with this racetrack.
I don't know what to tell them other than you better just kind of coast around the bottom because there's one groove right around the bottom. If you get out, it's all marbles and it's pretty slick.
Well, we're going to be watching it. Congratulations on an early win, Rodney.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Steve?
Well, Bobby, you made a move for the lead on that next to the last lap on the 20 car, but just couldn't quite execute there in turn 3.
Well, that was a feature. I think I could have got him, but I didn't want to get knocked out of the feature because I was enough by him to go by him. But I just thought I better save it because the money's about $5 difference.
Well, that first heat race gave a new definition of the old term, eat my dust.
Yeah, it's a little dusty and slippery. It's going to be a lot of spin outs and a little action today.
Thanks, Bobby.
Thank y'all.
We'll be seeing Bobby later in the day, but now the second heat is forming up here at Tulsa Speedway and the Copenhagen Skull World of Outlaws National Point Series event. We'll be back for the green flag right after this.
Welcome back to the Tulsa Speedway and the Tulsa Shootout. I'm Steve Evans along with Brock Yates, and you see heat number 2 circling around this 3/8 mile racetrack, kind of shaped like a long paper clip. It'll be the same deal, 10 laps, and the top 4 will go directly to the main event. And Brock, already we've got one car out there that is smoking just a bit. The number 2 machine of Andy Hillenberg, the black car. See it right there on the outside of the front row. Hillenberg is from not far up the road in Oklahoma City, and that is not good news for his fans.
No, he's a big favorite here. He's one of the few guys that's a veteran in this racetrack. As they come off the third turn with the hammer down, as usual, Hillenberg falls back. And right now it's Chris Eash out of Woodbine, Maryland. Right behind him in the number 1 car, Sammy Swindell, but there's trouble in turn number 2.
Sliding off the high side, almost disappearing, is the number 6 car of Bobby Davis Jr. There's a garden down there, Brock, that belongs to the track operator, and Bobby doing a little free rototilling. But there's no damage to that car. At least it doesn't appear that way from here. And he is very carefully just guiding it back up on the racetrack. He didn't panic, get himself in more trouble than he was otherwise.
So he escapes uninjured and unhurt, but not Jack Haudenchild in the 18 car from Millersburg, Ohio. He was in that tangle, and it looks like they've got some front-end damage and lost the front wing off that machine. Haudenchild still in the car. Nobody obviously hurt, but the yellow's out, and they're going to have to tow Jack off. That's a tough break for him. He was one of the favorites here.
Look again. Danny Smith in the 57 car gets sideways, takes the front wing off of Jack Haudenchild, number 18 car, and then Bobby Davis Jr. gets nudged from behind by 10X Larry Hartwell, and Davis decides to get the heck out of here before anything worse happens to him. Goes off the high side of the racetrack. Now, Brock, that was not even a completed lap, so we're going to see all of these cars reformed as they were before.
Well, that's with the exception of Jack Haudenchild, whose front wing being torn off. He's going to go back to the pits. He's going to have to work his way into the feature through the B main, the Consolation. But right now, as they reform, earlier Steve had a look at one of the most interesting push cars that you'll ever see in the World of Outlaws. Remember, these cars don't have starters, so you got to have a push car to make them run.
Brock, as you well know, I've sat in some exotic vehicles over the years, but this one may take the cake. It's called Workin' Woody, the official push vehicle of the World of Outlaws. Custom built. Take a look. Up front is that shock-mounted bumper. If a sprint car is hard to start and is bucking around, the driver doesn't take a beating from a solid push bar. Now we got our basic plexiglass shield here to keep the mud off the driver of Workin' Woody. She's fitted with a roll cage, much like the sprint cars themselves, and a wing that's obviously for show here. But if somebody needed to borrow a wing, they can have this one. Now, powerful? Yes. It's based on a Jeep CJ5 four-wheel drive chassis, but now fitted with a Chevrolet V8 motor. It's got lots of beans. And in the back of Workin' Woody, well, that's the business end of this machine. You'll see there's a boom there. In case there's a wrecker not available, they can serve as a wrecker. Or if a driver needs to change engines and doesn't have a hoist, they're welcome to use this one. Now, the tools back here are really for the use of crews. When they get out on the racetrack and there's a minor little shunt, if they need a wrench or a screwdriver, a pair of pliers, it's on board Workin' Woody, as are shovels and all kinds of bars and hammers. If their trailers are not parked in the infield, that happens a lot of tracks. They need spark plugs, they're on board Workin' Woody. So are oil filters. Now, these lights are not ornamental. If the driver of Woody sees something the starter doesn't, he'll throw the yellow or even the red to stop the race. And the starters trust this operation and will throw the corresponding flag. So all in all, this is a